All right, Chapman Steve, another story, and this is really common. The kind of story I'm going to talk about is very common here in the hospital, and it has to do with is loss. When a family member loses someone, it can be very devastating, and I see this all the time. I see this. It is. Boy, you see this all the time. Family members, and I have said this before. I know where they're going. The ones who pass away, I know where they're going. They're going to be just fine. It is the family members that are the ones that are going to have a hard time. They're not going to have that person with them. And one such story though is a father and a daughter. And I got kind of some background on this about them and their relationship. And he was in for cancer, and it was spreading. It was going through his body, and his organs started to fail. So we knew what was going to happen. Inevitable was going to be happening. He was going to pass away. So she had to come to terms with that. And we do what's called a DNR, do not resuscitate. If he gets really bad and his heart stops, whatever, nothing is done. He passes away naturally, and that's what that's the decision the family has to make. But anyway, he did pass away. And but I have to tell you, he died peacefully. That's the one good news. He didn't, a lot of medication was given to him, so the pain wasn't. He died very peacefully. And actually, there was a kind of a calm in the room when he passed away. But the daughter and I talked for a while, and she was gonna miss him. They had a really incredible relationship, and she was telling me. When she was kind of born and going through, grammar school and junior high, and she was, making some jokes about what happened, that, her father would tell him, he would have to watch out because all the guys would be going after her. You know what? They were going after her. From what she was telling me, and then some other family members too, that, the father really kept an eye, not on her, but all the guys were coming in, he was checking them out. He wanted to make sure they were going to treat his daughter well. She appreciated that, and they had a very special relationship. They had, she would go to him, and he would be around the block a few times. He knows things, and she used to kind of rely on his wisdom. So they had just a very close relationship. At this loss now that he passed away, he wasn't going to be around anymore. And so the story goes is that we talked about something. How sometimes family, I said, he's always going to be in your memory, he's always going to be with you, and but in this case, this was different. And what I mean in the physical sense, he came physically. She was at home, I think, somewhere in the middle of the night. She was kind of dreaming, and then she kind of woke up, and sure enough, guess who was standing there? Her father. And he was letting her know that he's doing fine. He's doing just fine. And the thing that was so interesting about it is in the background that she can hear, also him. They can hear voices in the background, and she's tuning in, and he listens to it, and he turns around, and what they were looking at were other beings, other angels, other people that had passed away. There were just like a lot of people, a lot of presence of people there. And she got a sense, not directly an ND experience, but she experienced it through him the next life. And he came back to assure her she was fine. And and when there were all these other angels were out there, other people were there, it was his time to go. It was his time to go into the next life. He kind of stuck around. That relationship, they were very, very close, and and he just wanted to let her know he was doing just fine. But this time there was more detail. This time she got a sense there was more going on. She heard all these other voices, She couldn't see them. She saw something back there, but kind of like there was white beings back there in the background as she was describing it. But this is the case where people, that it happens. I hear stories all the time how people, family loved ones come back, letting them know they're doing just fine. One way or another, let them know. Whether it comes in a dream, whether you can really actually see what's going on. In this case, she actually saw her father and kind of saw the afterlife and all these other beings. Heard them, literally heard them. We're talking. She couldn't understand what was being said, but she heard them. And so, just a really touching story. And we all have a relationship with people that we love. We have a relationship with friends and family members and cousins and all. We so many relationships we have through a lifetime. And this is one such case. And God, it's stunning, everybody. What goes on is, and I've said this many, many times, the universe is far bigger than we think. A lot of things go on, a lot of good things. Also, sometimes things that there's a bad side too. But most everybody that I have, 99, 90, it's just fine. Everybody's just fine. And in this one particular case, though, they really had a very close relationship. The father came back to let her know, he was doing just fine. And at the same time, as I mentioned before, she could see and also hear all the different voices in the background. Anyway, I wanted to share the story with you. I guess the better way really just kind of put it to you, we're in good hands. All the stuff we go through, we go through a lot in our lifetime. And the good news is that there's a much bigger picture, everybody. And relationship we have with other people, family members, loved ones that we have, is far greater. Is far greater, and this is one particular case between a father and a daughter. Letting her know that he was doing just fine. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and here. It was just a good story, and as I said, it's kind of common here in the hospital. I hear a lot of this. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Again, I hope, as usual, I hope your day is going well. And I appreciate your time for watching this. And until the next video. Thanks again, everybody. Appreciate your time. Thanks again.